Hello everyone, it is Walt here today, and today's topic, it just kind of came to me today, and I really wanted to just shoot a video on it while I'm still in the state of mind, while I'm still kind of first recalling it, and I imagine this is as much for me as it is for anyone else, but last night I had this idea to do an exercise where, I've heard about things like this before, but what I said was with every step I take, I shall become, more intelligent because, I wanted to boost my intellectual capacity, and I was thinking maybe my subconscious mind could kind of help me out with that. So I just did, an exercise of saying, okay, I'm taking a step, I'm feeling smarter, kind of more intelligence. And I kind of put that as a background mantra, just like starting that out last night. And I mean, correlation doesn't prove causation here or anything, but today I just had this feeling. I normally listen to various musical things when I go to class, but then suddenly I had this inclination to listen to a particular Wayne Dyer recording, which I previously did a video on, like his 10 Principles of Manifestation. It was one of my favorite series to shoot. But I just got I got this kind of feeling that I should do that, and so I kept going with the intelligence exercise today. To every step I take, I shall become more intelligent. I'm considering adding abundance to that one, or keeping it the same way. But we'll see how that plays out. Anywho, as I was doing this, I listened to the second principle in that one, and it really clicked with me all of a sudden on just the fact it's the principle of you can't give away what you don't have, which is something I don't think I had really an issue on the understanding part. But the next part about the message to the universe, about what you give is what you'll receive, there was something particularly strong that occurred to me that I hadn't previously considered from like a psychological perspective, because I'd always gone with the idea of you want to serve others, you want to give to others. But I still think I've lived a lot of my life with a more of a focus on things that I'm interested in and what I want. I think I'm not a, like super dominant, controlling, obsessive compulsive person. But I also don't think that I'm somebody who has ever been that interested in like service to others that I don't particularly know or like or feel any connection to. And I think that's pretty common to most people. And I've kind of, I try to serve the people that I think, are important, are best, are it's most beneficial to. But I think that I was always still thinking, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, I. And I don't think that that's, I don't think I saw the harm in doing that, in thinking about the way that it works, because then I had this realization. A lot of the things that are brought on by the four main bad guys that I've kind of developed of Fear's army, basically at this point, as I call it, things such as guilt, perfectionism, doubt, and the final one I'm calling the cynic, that I've come up with. Basically what these guys do, guilt is one who makes you feel bad about the past, makes you feel like you should have done things differently in the past, even though you can't actually change any of that. So there's guilt there. You've got perfectionism, who tries to make you, if you're going to achieve anything, he says you have to do it perfectly, and then he punishes you for not doing it perfectly by giving you kind of an impossible task, like, okay, now we're going to write an entire novel. Oh, you only wrote half a novel in a day. You're terrible. And then you're like, no, I stayed up all night. I wrote 25,000 words. This is really good. He's like, nope, you didn't write all of it. Bam, 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 newspaper to the head, never try anything again. So kind of trying to beat us down. Perfectionism, that's his thing. Doubt's thing is to always come to us and tell us that we're wrong. That's his only line, okay? You're wrong, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. So when we're trying to do something challenging, can't do it. Trying to do something easy, can't do it. He's just always, he's always there to tell us how we can't do stuff. And then after that, we finally have, the cynic, whose job is to say that everything in the world is broken, that nothing in the world can work, everything's always broken, and it's our fault that it's broken, and we have to fix all of it all the time. So it gives us an overwhelming task, kind of to wear us down to a point of hopelessness. And that's really what fear is after. But then I got the feeling all of a sudden, if we focus on serving others, can any of these guys actually manifest in our own minds? Because if I think about, there's so many causes I want to do, like serving for this channel, serving for, there's like, I've always had this dream of building a certain school. And just like, I've always really gone after things because I wanted to bring that kind of school to kids, to allow them to be happy instead of being like so depressed and anxious as people grow up to be these days. And things like that, causes that we really believe in, that we want to serve in. If we act from that perspective, if we ask kind of to the universe, the question of how can I serve you? And just the phrase, how can I serve you? If we ask that to others or to the universe, if we take that perspective and we kind of act from it, can guilt, perfectionism, doubt, or the cynic ever even appear? I mean, think about it. Guilt makes you feel guilty about your past. But if you're thinking about serving others, how can it make you feel bad about what you've done in the past? If you've acted to serve others and, various things, it can't really say that you've done something wrong. Because I guess it could try to say, oh, but in the past you failed to serve others. But it's not really that attitude. It's that when you are trying to serve others, when you have that attitude, it's not egocentric. It's not all about you. So you can't really find fault with yourself about the past if you're focused on serving others. It's basically kind of taking these armies that were once attacking you, and you're kind of popping up somewhere where they're no longer encircling you. And then it's like they're not actually there. It's kind of a jump away from them ever being able to hurt you. That's kind of just the thought I was having based on this. And I always understood kind of the law of attraction component of if you serve others, they'll serve you back. I don't think I always follow that perfectly. I think that I have quite a bit of deviation at times in that department. That's something, I've felt like I've had to work on. But suddenly I'm kind of really realizing there's something deeper to it than that. And besides just guilt, look at perfectionism. I mean, how can perfectionism exist? Say that we have to do things perfectly if we're just trying to serve someone else, And I think that this is just, the fact that this works is not because these things couldn't attack us. It's the reason why they attack us. Why is the cynic always telling us that, everything is broken? Why are we told that we're constantly wrong? Why are we told we have to do it perfectly? Why are we told to feel guilty about the past, to feel bad about the past? And the answer is because in life, we've been exposed to people who have told us these things, either through literature, through videos, through movies, through books, through direct conversations, through punishment, through yelling, through all these kind of things. People have told us, okay, the I, the ego, basically they've told us all these things. They've told us when we do something wrong, when we take some money off the counter, for example, when we, when there's $5 on the counter and somebody just grabs it, as a kid. I mean, they don't know any better. And then they get told they should feel bad about having done that. Not only to give back the money, but they need to be punished for it because they're a bad person. They did something wrong. And perfectionism, when we do something, like we play a piano piece and we're just slamming on the keys for this song, at one point because we want to improvise, and we're told, no, that's not how it goes. You have to hit this key, this key, this key. And it's an impossible task, to get perfect, but we're supposed to have followed all these rules, exactly. And then when we're told we're wrong, we get told we're wrong all day by all these people. People are like, oh, you can't do that. You did this wrong. You're bad at this, And we get all this kind of hate from people, saying, no, color inside the lines. No, you're coloring this wrong. No, you're doing this wrong. Oh, you can't read this right. You're being lazy. All these kind of things we get told we're wrong. And then the cynic, the fact that everything's broken, this is just something that I think gets dumped on us by a lot of people in our society, where they say, oh, this is just broken, this doesn't work, and we just keep hearing this all day. Government doesn't work, this thing doesn't work, that thing doesn't work. And the fact is, a lot of things work really well, so saying that nothing works is just a plain wrong statement, And I think that that's just, sure, things don't work perfectly, but just because they don't work perfectly, that doesn't mean they don't work. And so it's kind of saying, wait a second, our entire lives, we've basically been told all these things, that, we've done this wrong, we've done that wrong, that, we should feel bad about this, we should do this perfectly, we should fix every broken thing in the world. These are kind of just messages we've been repeated. And so when we're in circumstances, basically, it's like the anticipation of a shock. So if you were to, I'm trying to think of a good example with kind of an animal study that actually exists. I can think of one that doesn't, but this is also a learned helplessness approach. That's a good study to go to. So there's like, I believe this is done in rat studies primarily. I've heard it done in other animals, but for example, there's a little fence that's put up for a rat to leap over, and it's too tall, but the rat wants to escape. So the rat tries to escape, and he gets shocked by the fence, you know? And so the fence slowly gets lowered, and he eventually learns, you know, that if he tries to jump over the fence, he gets shocked. Even to a point that by the time the fence is low enough for him to actually escape, he won't go for it because he believes he gets shocked. So we're kind of, basically, when we're approaching fences in life, we're shocking ourselves because when we've done these things in the past, we've been shocked for them, you know? And we kind of have learned these things, and so we have internal mechanisms to say, oh, don't do that, you know, or else you get hurt. And that's basically just how operant conditioning works on a punishment side. And punishment is a very bad form of operant conditioning. Positive or negative punishment, they're both pretty ineffective overall. I mean, they're necessary only in rare circumstances, but people tend to use punishment almost all the time in raising kids and working with kids and things just all around people. They punish other people, and I think that this just builds up these guys for us, this, you know, guilt, perfectionism, you know, doubt, the cynic. All these enemies really just appear, and the only reason that they're appearing is because of this, okay? Because they're around the self, because they're mechanisms that basically, like fear, are trying to keep us safe. They're fear that is, you know, overabundant. They're fear that's basically like, fear is meant to do the fight or flight thing, you know, it's meant to save us in danger. But because we've been programmed with all these social rules of how we have to do everything perfectly all the time, because we've been given so many, like such an abundance of unrealistic expectations, when it comes down to it, we are constantly just shocking ourselves for trying to live our lives, for trying to be who we are. We're punishing ourselves because that's what, you know, our parents have done to us, or the education system has done, or our friends have done, or our significant other has done, or society has done, or people in movies have done. Whatever it is, we've internalized this idea, and so we hold ourselves back so much. And that's really why serving others changes that, because when you've shifted your focus from me, who's constantly getting shocked and being held back and all that kind of stuff, when you focus on how can I serve, when you're focusing on the other, you've kind of taken yourself outside the realm of that part of psychology. You've taken yourself out of the picture to be shocked. You're no longer the same person. You're no longer the same entity that needs to be controlled, because it's not the guy who, you know, took the money off the counter. It's not the guy who said the dumb thing. It's not the guy who did this or did that or was told this. Now you're looking at it almost in an altruistic lens, in a universal lens of how can I serve? How can I give? And the reason this is a path of abundance is because fear is just gone then. Because you're outside of fear. Fear is there around you to stop you. It's like if you put a wall around, say, a town, okay? So you just encircle this whole city with a wall. And so you're constantly trying to do things to like go and live your life, and you keep running into this wall, and you keep running into people hassling you about trying to get over the wall, and, you know, they're like guard dogs and, you know, razor wire and stuff, and there's just like no way over the wall. But suddenly, if you just appear in a different city, and you go walking, suddenly you can get outside the city. And the reason for that is because the walls aren't there. And so I guess I just kind of discovered this through this, like, you know, just by accident. I was just thinking yesterday when I was going to like watch actually like a nominational debate. When I was about to watch that, I was just thinking, okay, you know, as I was getting a pitcher of water, what if every step I take makes me more intelligent? And then from there, I was kind of like, up till, you know, only 2 hours ago, I had this idea of watching this Wayne Dyer video, and then when I was even in class, I then suddenly realized, how did these guys exist without the I component? If we focus on others, these guys can't stop us. So if we focus on how can I serve, and that's the phrase that really unlocked it for me. If we constantly ask others, if we constantly ask, you know, the environment or the world, and don't do this in like some crazy, you know, way, but do it in a way that when you put yourself in the state of mind, it liberates you from all fear. And it's not because you're acting to give because of this. It's because it's no longer the you who is punished. Now you are looking to serve, and this is something outside. It's not something that we've been punished for necessarily, because little parts of our life have been lived in a state where we feel like not only are we serving, but we're asking the universe, how can I serve? We're not taking the direction ourself or from a superior. We're saying, how can I serve you, universe, or God, or whatever you want to call that kind of force? And that really just puts us outside the state where fear can get us. Anyway, I thought that this was an amazing kind of revelation for me, and I wanted to make a kind of a video of that just for myself, and I thought, hey, you guys would love it too. So anyway, thanks for watching this one. I am Walt. I want to bring you guys some amazing self-help content and to serve you guys some more, obviously. So thank you guys for watching, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Have a great night, have a great day, whatever time of day it is for you, and I'll see you next time.